Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I played on the PS5 via backwards compatibility, but if you got it far enough back, I think it was available on the Xbox and PS2. So let's get into it. Basically, you play as Jango Fett, you are on a mission, and what you don't realize is that mission is secretly a test to see who will be the blueprint for the clones of the Republic Army. Unbeknownst to you, you are actually helping the Sith because you're hunting down an enemy of, well, what will eventually become the Empire. And the story is fine, it works well enough. Let's get into the audio, and the music I think works well. I think it's good and Star Wars enough. As for the sound effects, for the most part they work well, although I felt like at times there were ones that felt really forced and out of place, so I don't necessarily understand why they were there. And lastly, there's the voiceover work. Certain characters, you know they weren't done by the actors and it's noticeable. But overall, I think the quality isn't that bad. Now let's get into gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and this is a third-person action shooter. And it is very much mission by mission. Each of the missions actually is kind of broken up into its own sections. It is not open world. You are pretty limited in the world, and one thing I am going to say while I'm talking about the world, and have said it enough times, the level design in this game is shit. It's fucking terrible. There's no minimap, there's no marker to guide you, and the levels are not well designed, so it's easy to get lost and find yourself going in a loop while searching for the poorly marked objectives, if they're marked at all. And I mean, they're not marked at all in reality. But basically, you go into an area, you shoot all the bad guys, you go to the next cutscene. I mean, that is really how it goes. There is some exploration, there are some hidden items, there are side bounties, but they take so much time and effort to identify, and like, I was on a mission that like automatically identified a bunch and I was able to collect those. But any other time that I had to, and I did manually identify one of the side bounties and then I would tie them up or do whatever or shoot them or whatever to capture them, I couldn't capture them. It wouldn't allow me to, so it didn't work correctly. But since you are Jango Fett, you are a Mandalorian, so you have the classic, jetpack. He had the double blasters, as we all recall from the movies, and that is one of the few cool things. While there are other weapons you can pick up, and he has a couple of other weapons that he can use, really you're just running around with the double blaster, shooting everything, waiting for people to drop health, and gaining it for yourself, and then circle strafing the bosses and firing at them. You use the jetpack to, navigate some of these horribly done maps, and it has very little juice, so it's not amazing. But as I pointed out, the dual blasters was actually a cool thing because you can lock onto an enemy and fire at him, but if there's multiple enemies, he'll independently aim one of his blasters at another enemy, so you're firing at two targets at the same time, which is pretty cool. I think that was actually neat, and the fact that they put that in there is awesome. I mean, a lot of games will let you dual wield, but you're just hitting one target. You're shooting at one target with two guns rather than multiple targets. Which in reality, I don't know how functional that'd be, but hey, whatever. It was cool in the video game. Let's move on to the controls, and oh god, wow. The controls are shit. Like, let's be real, the controls are shit. The X-axis is reversed for the camera for whatever fucking reason, so if you're pressing, like, you're just looking in the opposite direction you want to be looking in, it doesn't flow naturally, it's really weird. But going beyond that, just the movement is really bad. Like, it's neat that back then they managed to have like a slow walk, and then run, but if you're running, it's really sharp, and like you'll change in ways that you don't intend to because it just doesn't move well. The controls aren't necessarily unresponsive, but they're not well explained to you. When you try and shoot, you will shoot. When you lock on, it will lock on. When you hit the jetpack button, it'll jetpack. But with how bad the movement is and how weird the controls are, especially with the camera in a, shooter, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's not necessarily unplayable, but it was definitely unenjoyable. And let's go on to the graphics, which they're bad. They're just really bad. It's a PS2 era game, and they have not held up well. I mean, I would think even at the time they probably wouldn't look that amazing, so this isn't even an HD re-release or anything. It was just not even upscaled or anything. It's a bad looking game. If I have to compliment the game, I will say that I liked that the different levels were well done and really well differentiated from each other, which that's nice, but as I previously stated, the maps are shit and navigating them is shit, So they may look cool, they may all have different designs, and that's awesome, but who cares when navigating them makes you just want to put your fist through a wall? As for the enemies, they're fine, but there's a whole lot of copy and paste. There's not a lot of individuality to them, and since there's already a lack of detail, it's just not that impressive. Obviously, also with some of these characters being based on real actors, they tried to make them just a little off-brand enough, and it's noticeable when you know who these actors are supposed to be. So to wrap this up, this is exactly the kind of like movie tie-in game you weren't really happy to play, and man, looking back on it, it's amazing the kind of shit we tolerated with controls back then, because man, I remember playing this game. I don't remember anything about playing this game. Like, I know that I played it. And having replayed it now, I'm sitting there going, yeah, I probably blocked the memories. So as you can guess, this game is just not worth it. Like, every time I started playing this game, I felt like I was choosing violence against myself. So save yourself that feeling. Don't choose violence against yourself. Don't play this game. Skip it. Okay, so in the comments down below, why don't you tell me what's a game that you have played where you felt like you were just choosing violence against yourself? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.